Well, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for sitting with me today. So I'm quite excited to interview you, of course, and I'd like to start with a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, so my name is Bradley Adams. I am a strategic account manager for Leica Geosystems inside the Mobile Reality Capture Group. I am a civil engineer, and in my 30-year career, I have really excelled at introducing technology to infrastructure. I did the introduction of CAD and design software into infrastructure. That evolved into doing static scanning and now mobile scanning, and now the full concept of mobile reality capture. That includes a small laser scanner like the BLK, a backpack system, a vehicle mounted system, an aerial system, drones, UASs. Any type of data acquisition is now being consumed within a mobile reality capture group.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when we're talking off camera, just about your background and some of the companies you've worked for. So, and it's quite interesting that you've tested out new ideas. And there's one company you were telling that you got a new laser scanner, and you were like the 26th in the world.
So I was the Texas operations manager for Bohannon Houston, which is an Albuquerque-based geospatial and engineering firm. And about the time I joined the firm, they had purchased laser scanner number 26th in the world, and it was the Cyrax scanner that in Albuquerque they were challenged in making money with it. There just simply weren't a number of projects needing laser scanning. So Larry Houston asked me to take the laser scanner to Dallas and to start making money in the Texas operations group with that. And we had the scanner there about 2 weeks, and we were awarded a $250,000 job for Texas Department of Transportation to do laser scanning in downtown Dallas. And that project really proved out that laser scanning could be used effectively and productively in a vast majority of situations. Two of the results of that were, we were doing that for a large engineering firm at the time named Carter Burgess. And one of the engineers told me that the value that we added to that project using laser scanning was the fact that he could sleep at night. Because now, instead of having individual points represent this really complex system of highways, he had a full-scale LiDAR point cloud that allowed him to visualize exactly all of the different components of that. We were fortunate enough to be the keynote address in the original SPAR conference in Houston, I believe in 1994 or 95. And that was the project that we presented, and it was called Project Pegasus, which was the downtown Dallas reconstruction of the freeways, named for the mobile Pegasus that sat on top of the building in downtown Dallas.
Right, okay.
Which is completely unrelated to the Pegasus brand of Leica hardware that we have today.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So how long have you been working for Leica for?
So this is my second stint with Leica. Okay. I was hired to introduce the Pegasus mobile mapping system when it was originally introduced 5 years ago. I left to join a small firm, and then I was recruited back a year and a half ago. So yeah, I've been here 3.5 years total in 2 different stints.
Right, okay. So, well, one of the things I'd like to say is thank you very much for being our premier sponsor.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people will be really interested to, well, why you're here really, and also because there's a bit of conflict with the Cyclone software and the TopoDOT software. So can you give us a little bit of background about that?
Well, certainly the Cyclone software started historically as the base gathering of LiDAR information from Leica's entire line of terrestrial laser scanners. And it certainly has grown and expanded in its capabilities of being able to process all things LiDAR. But as it relates specifically with mobile mapping, the hardware and processing capabilities of mobile mapping have continued to get better and better and better. And when we started doing mobile mapping back in 2004, 2005, 2006, the timeline of a project was essentially it would take a week to get control down, and it would take another week to survey that control in, and then it would take 3 or 4 days to drive the project, and then it would take 2 weeks to process the project, and then it would take another 8 to 10 weeks to extract the intelligence out of that same project. So now what was essentially a 10-mile job was taking 3 to 4 months from beginning to end. What we've seen, of course, is a dramatic improvement in hardware, in accuracy, in precision, in ability to move from acquisition to processing. So what did take several weeks, now it takes several days. Yeah. The one level that has not been able to keep up with that dramatic increase in productivity is feature extraction. And that's still what is necessary to complete a project. No project is complete with imagery and with point clouds. You have to have extracted features that deliver the intelligence as a survey deliverable. And that is what so many people are working on. And that is what TopoDOT is able to deliver very well, is the ability to utilize what is a standard method of doing data extraction for most users who then introduce mobile mapping in. And they're able to understand and rationalize their abilities of extracting that information from a massive point cloud by using tools that are familiar with them.
So what would you say are some of the benefits or things that you think will be really good for Leica with the TopoDOT product?
Well, certainly the ability to create deliverables is imperative to continue to increase sensor cells. At some point you become choked off with sensor cells because the time between the end of a process and the end of extraction simply overwhelms the staff. And so there's a couple of challenges that our customers have to face, and that is, number one, blending of projects. That you try to blend some asset inventory projects with some design survey projects, where the design survey takes weeks of extraction to produce deliverables, where an asset inventory project can be done with relative ease in getting site inventories and guardrail extractions and things that are much easier to extract. So you can blend your projects that way to reduce the stress on your data extractors. The second is to have better tools that can extract the data more effectively. One of the real values with TopoDOT, of course, is it sits inside of a microstation environment. And a microstation is the default standard for all drafting and design software in DOTs. And so now they're not having to understand a base graphics platform to be able to work with the TopoDOT sets of tools.
Yeah, so it's really an advantage for you working with TopoDOT.
It certainly lends itself in that environment to be able to deliver directly into a En-ROADS, GeoPack, open roads type of product that most of the DOTs use on a daily basis.
Yeah, and how do you see it growing with Leica?
Well, certainly I think that the integration becomes more and more advantageous as we continue to pull different tool sets together. One of Leica's strengths is measurements done right. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is having extremely clean point clouds. So of course, the better point cloud that you have, the better the feature extraction becomes, and the easier it becomes, and the less decision making it becomes. And what we're working at is Leica is that we're working extremely hard to have automated target recognition and automated control point verification, so that instead of spending a lot of time moving a point cloud to a target, the software is automatically finding the targets in the point cloud and moving that to the registration points as required. We're also spending a lot of effort in doing multipass and point cloud consistency, because all point clouds are not created equal. And all rows and all strips of point clouds are not going to be exactly the same every time you drive.
Yep.
So in my mind, there's 3 steps to getting to data acquisition. Number 1 is we have to be able to hit the targets. We have to be able to get to the ground control. The second is we have to have a consistent point cloud that takes all of the separations between multiple passes and multiple sensors and get those all layered so that we have one exceptionally consistent, exceptionally precise point cloud. And then from there, feature extraction becomes very easy because once a human is not having to make a decision on is this edge of curve right or is this edge of curve right, then it becomes a much more effective process.
Yeah.
So on the Leica side, we are working to deliver a much more consistent and accurate point cloud that allows the work from the TopoDOT side to be even better and to be even more precise and to be even more automated and give better tool sets to the end user because of the incoming data.
Yeah. And what do you think of the TopoDOT staff?
Ted and I have known each other for a number of years. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of opportunities to work with many of the other staff. I think Ted has done a tremendous job of understanding a gap in the current productivity path, and in delivering and getting people to use the vision and the tools that he has developed.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think of the TopoDOT User Conference, TUC?
This is my first time here.
Yes.
It is very well attended. It certainly seems to do a great job of extending intelligence from the TopoDOT staff to the users who are here. It seems that the classes are all very well attended. It's a really long day.
It's a long day.
I was very surprised when I saw that the only bus leaves at 6 a.m. and I'm thinking, wait a minute.
Yeah.
6 a.m.
That's because of that big conference that's happening down the road.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, 65,000 people just across the road.
Oh, no.
So that's why we came early.
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah, definitely. But it's a long day.
It is a long day.
We pack a lot in.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks again for being our premier sponsor.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.